Hello, everyone. I'm Alex, and I'm joined with Dr. Stavros Kepas, our lead researcher for weather here at WeatherXM. And we're going to be talking about our new upcoming feature for the Pro app, which will be forecast accuracy tracking, along with some discussion about the Mosaic forecast. So we're excited to chat with you today and give you some information about this upcoming feature.
Hello, Alex.
So today we're going to be talking about the forecast tracker tool that we've developed. And so could you give us some details on what the forecast tracker is?
Yeah, sure. So the forecast accuracy tracker is actually a mechanism that is part of our quality of forecast, or as we call it, QoF mechanisms at WeatherXM. So the accuracy tracker is a mechanism that can evaluate the forecast of all the available weather models out there, using the observations of the stations of our network as a ground truth. So someone can imagine it's like a global search engine of the performance of the models in very simple terms.
Okay. What and how many models is it tracking right now?
Right. So it depends on the area of a station. So in general, we have more than 40 models, but it depends on the area. Some models are regional, so they have an available forecast only for certain areas of the planet.
Right.
So it can range from 10 models for a station to 20 or something. It depends.
Wow. Okay. And yeah, can you give us maybe an overview of what the tool looks like in the dashboard? I think I'd love to see it. I'm sure the audience would as well.
Sure, of course. Let me share the screen and show you. So this is the dashboard that we have developed in order to have like an internal tool for now. And so actually there is a lot of information even in this first version of the dashboard. So through this dashboard, the user can choose the period of evaluation, the variables and the models to evaluate. As we said, there are more than 40 models, but as I said, this depends on the area of the station. That's important. And of course, we can always choose the cycle of the models. And so it's a good practice in general to choose a certain cycle instead of all cycles, but it depends on the case that you want to evaluate. I mean, in the purpose that we have in order to evaluate the model. So here is actually what I said. This is the period evaluation, the cycles can be.
Well, so maybe I can ask a few questions about what I'm looking at here, and you can explain it to me as a meteorologist and someone using this tool professionally. And so, I assume the map can we zoom in there and pick a station to look at?
Sure. Yeah. Let's go to Athens, for example.
And so, are these the XY coordinates of our stations, or are they the hexagons that you can see on the Explorer?
Actually, these are the coordinates of the stations.
Okay.
It's in the hexagon. So
a little more detail on exactly where it is in the world. And then right below it, so I see all the models listed out, like Icon and GFS. So first, what is the day 0, day 1? What does all that mean?
So clicking on the station, we can click evaluate, and then we get the evaluation for the period that we have asked for.
Okay. So you selected some sort of time period in the top right there.
Exactly. We can choose, for example, 1 month of evaluation or 1 year of evaluation. We want to see how the models performed all the last year or all the last month or just the last 7 days, etc.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, these are the graphs. Yeah. So let's take it from the beginning. The first important thing here is that we have some metadata. So we actually know some information. We need to know some characteristics of the station that we use as a ground truth. So we need to know altitude. We need to know the model of the station, this station, when this station was claimed. And we also aim to add new information about the Q of this core in order to be able to know if we can trust this station or not for the evaluation purposes. And also we will add a new metric, which is the uptime, in order to know that we have actually this metric will indicate the completeness of the data set of the time series of the station. Yeah.
So you're saying that you have the our QOD score, quality of data score, as well as the uptime of the station to help show whether it's a good station or not to use. Is that what you're suggesting here? Okay.
Yeah. So once we have click evaluate, then some tables and graphs appear here. So the first thing is this nice table that shows us what is the winner per day forecast ahead. I will describe this, and also per parameter.
Mm-hmm.
So
the different parameter, I mean, so our stations capture temperature, precipitation, humidity, and so these are showing the best forecast for that specific variable, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So imagine that we have chosen the periods, evaluation period of the last month, the last 30 days. Yeah. So every single day of these 30 days, every forecast that we have picked here to evaluate produces at least one forecast per day, maybe two, maybe three, maybe four. Yeah. So every single forecast is actually points to 7 days ahead, 3 days ahead, 4 days ahead. So we try to understand here in this table what was the best forecast for the first day ahead of all these forecasts of the models through this period, the second day ahead, etc. So the first 20 was the most reliable model was the Icon EU, for example, for temperature, while station was GEM 15. But actually, here we have two different metrics. We have the height skill score, which is like qualitative metric in order to understand if a model predicted a rain episode through a day, rather than just calculating the deviation from the ground truth, as RMC does, for example. So we have an extra metric for precipitation, which is a really specific, really, demanding parameter. And of course, we have for wind speed, wind direction, and humidity. So this is the first information that someone can see. And then we have various graphs like for the RMC, for temperature, for precipitation. So we can see now what was the RMC, what was the error of the models for each parameter compared to our ground truth, which was taken by the observations of the station. Here, for example, you can see that the error increases with time as it's quite, reasonable. Yeah, we also can see here the table that shows the ranking of the models for the certain parameter, and we also have a relative rating here. So actually, we can see if there is a model which was worse than another. For example, there are models that have just 1 star. There are other models that have 3 stars, for example, having a better score, etc.
Okay. Have you been sharing any of this forecast accuracy tracking out with any of the people creating the models, like the Icon or GFS, or are you primarily just using it internally?
No, not yet. Actually, this is quite new as a dashboard. We have integrated all these mechanisms to production the last few months. So actually, this is not something that we have done for now, but it would be great to share this information and to get feedback, of course. And
I was going to say, you're a meteorologist here at WeatherXM, so how have you been using this tool in your work, or in your research even?
Right, yeah. So knowing which forecast is better, then we can say that, this forecast is the most reliable. This is what I will use for my research, for example. This is what I will use in order to organize my activities, my, agricultural processes, every activity that I want to do for the next few days. Then if I have developed a model, for example, or if I have parameterized the model, I can contact WeatherXM and say, hey, hello, I want to add my, I want you to add my weather model here in this forecast accuracy tracker in order to see if my model is better than others or something like that.
Have you, just from looking at this, have you noticed like certain models perform better in certain geographies or terrains or anything like that? Or have you not used it enough to have any
Yeah.
personal favorites or preferred models?
So it's really complicated, and I think it requires more research in order to conclude into something like that. I mean, every model has certain microphysical schemes. So it's really complicated to say that, yeah, this model is better when we have such kind of topography, or this model is better for North America, South America, etc. But we aim to create another dashboard that will be able to show statistics over an area rather than for a certain station, for a given station. So, yeah, building the other dashboard, the area that the regional dashboard, I don't know how to say, we will be able to understand if a model is better than others against others for certain regions, which is also quite great.
Yeah. Well, and so maybe you can give me some insight on like what are the hyperlocal formats? So I think internally I've heard people mention Mosaic, but yeah, maybe you can tell me what these terms mean and how they work essentially,
Yep.
and what people are seeing on their app as well versus what we're seeing here.
So I will start with last question for now. Mosaic, we aim firstly to provide Mosaic only at Weather Pro app, and I think that maybe in the future we'll integrate this into the app, but this is not something I can answer for sure, as it's my responsibility, to be honest.
Okay.
I mean, the integration of the product, of the Mosaic product. So, what is Mosaic Forecast? Mosaic Forecast actually is our first attempt for an improved weather forecast based on what other models predict for a certain period of time. So the process is like this. We collect the forecasts of various models and we archive them. We store them somewhere. Then we evaluate the models for the last 30 days, specifically for the last 30 days, for the last month, and we find which model was better for which forecast they had. And in that way, we build a mosaic of forecasts every day based on the best performed models for the last month. If the mosaic finds that the model that performed best for the first 24 forecast hours during the previous month is, for example, the GFS model for the location of a station, it will then use the GFS model to predict the first 24 hours from today for this certain location. And in that way, we construct the 7-day ahead forecast using, different model, the best model for each of the days ahead.
Uh-huh.
And so the product of the Mosaic forecast is paved exclusively models that perform the best for each of the forecast days ahead. I would like to say here that in general we chose a broad period. We chose a broad period like a month, 30 days, because we want to take into consideration the seasonality of the models because they perform in different ways over different periods of the year. It's a bit unclear how exactly they perform from one season to another, but it's something that we have noticed in our analysis. But we also want to capture different weather conditions within this period, like rain, sunny days, strong wind. So we need to have a variety of weather conditions in order to be able to say that this model was the best because it predicted all of these different conditions better than other models.
So just so I want to make sure I have this right. So essentially, the Mosaic is combining all the different models and then, um, I guess, spitting out the best model for each parameter or variable, and that's what
Exactly.
they'll get displayed. So they'll essentially get a
Mhm.
combination of different models. Is that accurate?
It's a mosaic of different models, actually. Yeah.
Okay, hence the name. Okay, that makes sense. And then, I guess, what is the difference? So are we seeing the essentially? I'm seeing the Mosaic is gonna, like, when I look at this dashboard you have in front of me. So the
Mhm.
Mosaic would give me the icon, I guess, for two of these: the wind and wind direction and wind speed, and then humidity, medio blue.
Mhm.
So the Mosaic's just giving me each one of those, two different models and those three parameters, right?
Yeah. So actually, what are the differences, right? So although they look quite similar, we actually shouldn't confuse at all FATs with Mosaic, as they are used for different purposes. Like,
And by fact, the forecast accuracy tracker that we're looking at versus Mosaic, the forecast we were talking.
no, it's not actually. It's not actually because there are actually three main differences. The first is that the FAT will show us an evaluation of the available forecasts, while the Mosaic will use the FAT result not for evaluating the models, but to produce a forecast. So we will not see the evaluation, and we will only see the forecast that arises from the evaluation. The second thing is that in fact we get a winner per parameter per day ahead. But in the Mosaic, we get one winner per day ahead based on its performance on more than one parameter. So we need a model to be accurate at temperature, wind, and precipitation, using some criteria here, of course, in order to be the final winner. So we do this in Mosaic in order to avoid any inconsistencies between the models from a parameter to another. So we have multiple winners per day ahead in the FATs. We have only one winner in the Mosaic. And the last difference is that in FATs, we can choose the evaluation period. We can choose whatever we want, the last year, the year before the last year, or whatever. While in the Mosaic, we always get the last 30 days of forecast data and observations to conclude to the final winners.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so, how and when, um, can people expect to see this? Do we have any insight that we can share, or is it still we're waiting to get the sign off from product?
Yeah, I think that this is, I mean, the Weather Pro app is actually being designed right now. So I think that I'm not the right guy to answer this question, to be honest. I believe that we will have it. We will have it in the first months of 2025, but actually, this is not an official.
Statement. This is your own personal opinion, not the opinions of WeatherXM. Okay. But well, I really appreciate you showcasing the forecast accuracy tracker.
Mhm.
And, I found it really interesting to, see all the different models in the dashboard. And I think we're one step closer to getting a more accurate forecast. So I appreciate your time today, Stavros. Thanks for sharing your work, and I
Great.
look forward to seeing you again on here soon.
Yep. The weather team actually works on different and very interesting stuff, like the QF that you showed. Some part of the QF actually is that, and we also build very interesting things in the QD mechanisms. There's a lot of stuff to come in 2024, 25. Sorry,
Excellent. Well, yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you. Yeah, appreciate your time, Stavros. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Alex. Bye bye.